right. So I was saying that when we verify a website, when we look at a link, we have to make sure that the word HTTPS is in our URL, because this makes sure our information is encrypted. So if it is encrypted, this means that when we put passwords in a website, banking information, even our email address, it is going to be converted into a special code that cannot be stolen or duplicated. So it's very important that a website is encrypted. And the two ways you know it is encrypted is through HTTPS and a padlock. So if we look at the next page, you can see that there's two examples of what I mean when a website is verified and secured. So if we look at the top of the screen where it says secure, you can actually see the padlock and the HTTPS that I was explaining previously. This is a secure website, and you know that your information will be safe. However, at the bottom of our screen where it says not secure, it actually has a warning symbol with an exclamation point, and the website even says not secure. So sometimes Google will say flat out that the website is not secure at all. So these are two things you should definitely look out for, whether you are shopping online, you want to donate to a charity online, even if you're scrolling through different news articles, you should always look at the website's link and make sure it has this padlock on the screen. If not, you may be in danger of your information getting stolen or possibly viruses in the future on your computer, even on your phone as well. This is not just for a computer. The same rules apply for your phone and your tablet. Okay. We're gonna look at another picture as well. So this is another example of a secure website. If we look at the picture, we have a yellow circle and a yellow square. So you can see it has the padlock, as well as it says connection is secure. So you can see even says your information, for example, passwords or credit card numbers, is private when it is sent to this site. So you always have to make sure that you see this little padlock, because now you know that your information is encrypted and hopefully won't get stolen or anything like that. However, if you do not see this type of padlock, just immediately click out of that website. Okay. So another rule that you should always follow as well is when you are on a website, whether that is, again, once again, shopping, banking, news articles, health websites, any of that type of information, always make sure that a website has a contact information page. When websites do not have a contact information page, they more than likely can be a scam website, because contact information is very important. For example, if you did shop online, this is the only way to get in touch with that person. However, if their website is completely missing a page like this, it's probably either brand new, the website, or it's just a scam, because there should always be a way to contact with whoever you may have purchased from, donated, even reading news articles. They even should have a contact page. So this is actually pictures of a website called Instacart, and Instacart is a grocery shopping online website. And I just took pictures from their page, and you can see that they have a page called Contact. And when you click on Contact, it says here to help with customer support, shopper support. So these are the things that you should look out for. This is how Instacart's website looks like, but other contact information pages varies. Sometimes it just contains an email address, a telephone number, a postal address, customer service, and sometimes even a map that will show the physical location of a business's office. But if you're unsure whether or not you should create an account with a website, whether or not you feel comfortable making a purchase online, always look for a contact us or a contact page, because this is just another step of verification that the physical place is actually real, and they will provide customer support to you if anything happens with your information. Does anybody have any questions so far? Okay. So another thing as well that we should also be aware of is something called pop-ups and warnings. So you may have experienced this before, whether this is on your phone, a tablet, or computer. But sometimes when you enter a website, doesn't matter what type of website, once again, could be for medical health resources, even reading the news, anything like that. Sometimes images and text will appear, and they can either be paid advertisements, or sometimes the pop-up of a image and text is so huge it covers the whole entire website. And sometimes this can actually be a sign of a virus. So when next time when you do click on a website and all of a sudden you see all these pictures just appearing on the page and you can't even read the text, just be aware that maybe this website is not that secure, because you should be able to just read the article that you want instead of having to exit out of all these different pictures and advertisements. If there's way too many advertisements, it's another sign that this website is not secure for your information. And sometimes Google can be very smart in the way that they can warn you on whether the website is secure, but but also just follow these rules, because even though Google is smart and does that, they may not always warn you. So you would have to, on your own, through this, hopefully through this PowerPoint, you learn that sometimes these images that are always appearing on the screen can be signs of a virus. So let's go on to the next topic. So the last resort is also a website safety checker. So let's say you read the reviews, you looked at the top of the screen and you saw the HTTPS, you saw the padlock, but you still want to make sure this is a real website. The last resort can be going on a website safety checker. So a website safety checker will actually tell you if a website is secure or not. And actually, Google was the one who created this website safety checker, and the one I'm going to be sharing with you today. So it is a real website safety checker that you can always use. And if you want, you can write it down. It is called transparencyreport.google.com. That is the website name. And I'm going to actually show you how it works. But you can put any website's name in this safety checker, and Google will tell you they found some viruses, or no, we found nothing is wrong with the website. And this can be very helpful before you make a purchase online, before you donate to a charity. because you know that, well, Google is telling you for sure they haven't found anything wrong with this website. But you should always follow the other steps first that I mentioned on the PowerPoint before doing the safety checker. So once again, the website is called transparencyreport.google.com if you want to take a picture of it or write it down. And I'm going to show you how it works. So this is the website and this is how it looks. And you can see here, if I draw a circle around it, check site status. This is where you can enter any website that you want to see if it's a real website. So for example, I will use something like Amazon.com, right? So let's say we went to Amazon. Many people use Amazon.com to make purchases online, but there's so many different things that you can get on Amazon, including even now grocery shopping. But let's say I was uncomfortable shopping online with Amazon and I wanted to check the site status, right? So here where it says search by URL, I can actually put the Amazon.com and search for it. It says it here. It's hard to provide a simple safety status for sites like Amazon, which have a lot of content. Sites that are generally safe sometimes contain some unsafe content. So because Amazon is such a large website that has vendors from all over the world, they can't 100% tell you that it is truly safe. So that's why Google Transparency Report is actually a great tool to use, because it doesn't automatically tell you, yes, it's safe, no, it's not safe. They'll give you very specific answers, such as with Amazon, they can't really tell you it is 100% safe, since there's so many different things online, things to order on there. They can't truly let you know. But let's say you were doing something smaller, like if you wanted to donate to St. Jude's, right? Let's say you were doing a charity and you wanted to donate to St. Jude's, but you didn't know it was actually the real St. Jude website. So let's say we were on this website and it looks real, but you're still unsure and you're scared about your information getting hacked into or stolen. Once again, we can copy this link, go back to our Google Transparency Report, and we can paste it in this URL, and we'll see what Google Transparency has to say. So you can see it says it right here in the green. No unsafe content found. So if you are someone who makes donations online, but sometimes you actually do it through the mail instead, but you always wanted to try doing it online, this is a good tool to use to make sure that the website is safe. Websites like Amazon, because they're such a huge company, Google cannot for sure really tell you whether or not it's truly unsafe. But smaller websites like donating to charities or even medical resource websites and news articles, they can check for you that it's safe or not. Does anybody have any questions on this?
Yes. How do you get that big long thing Do you have to type it, that whole thing, every time? How do you get it up there? Because
Which one? The
the
trans.
transparency thing.
Oh, okay.
How do you,
So no, you don't have to copy this whole link. So let's, if we do like a new tab, um, so let's say you were in Google and you just typed in transparency Google report. It's always going to be the first link here.
oh,
So you just have to type these 3 words, transparency Google report,
okay.
and
Better.
it should be there.
So you do that when you're in that program.
Right. So when you're in this website, that's where you can
Yeah.
put copy and paste any of these different links. But
Okay.
hold on, let's go back here. You could just put transparencyreport.google.com.
Oh,
That's the official website's name. If you wanted to like write the website clearly, it's transparencyreport.google.com.
okay.
Not the save
Oh,
dash browsing slash search. You don't have to type all that. Just the
great. Yeah,
yeah.
of course. I had another question too. I've been getting a lot of pop-ups, and partially sometimes they cover. It's mainly, well, I get a lot of them all the time, I guess now. But I'm looking at the TV schedule, and part of it covers what the channel is. So it makes it hard to figure out what's on TV when you can't see,
Mm,
figure out what channel it's covered. And I don't know how to even get rid of that. Some of
but
them, I can click somewhere, but that I can't figure out how to
yeah.
get rid of it.
So those pop-ups are different than online pop-ups. Those are
Oh,
not those pop-ups on your television are not like viruses or scams. Those are just paid advertisements, so you don't
right.
really have to worry about that. When I'm mentioning pop-ups, I mean more so online purposes only.
I don't know what the difference is. I don't know what you mean.
So when you get
On,
pop-ups on your TV, that
no,
has nothing.
it's not on my TV. It's on the computer when I'm looking up the TV schedule.
Oh, well then those are just probably paid advertisements if you are on a legitimate website for your TV schedule. I'm gonna show you examples of what I mean by the different
Yeah.
pop-ups and the
Yeah, well,
warnings.
I can't see the whole thing. So I can't figure out what channel,
Right.
it's there without.
Right. There should be an X somewhere near the pop-ups, but
Yeah.
that's the only way to get rid of them.
Yeah,
Yes.
some of them, but I didn't, on that one, I don't see an X, but
Right.
there's so much stuff.
So now we're going to go over the second portion of this PowerPoint today, which is how reliable is a source. So we looked at the security purposes, and now we know next time when we are online, we want to look at the padlock. We want to find that the website has HTTPS in it. We're gonna read the reviews. But now, even though a website is secure, that doesn't mean that the information that you're reading can be altered and biased, right? So even though something is secure and your information is not getting stolen or anything like that, it doesn't mean that the stories that you're reading are 100% true. So we have to make sure that we're reading reliable sources, because sometimes stories can be entirely invented to make people believe something, and usually it can be to buy a certain product or visit a certain website. And sometimes websites can have some truth, but it's not 100% accurate. So sometimes they'll mix in the truth with some false information so they can get you to keep reading the article. But then when you keep on reading and reading, it's actually just full of lies. So when we do look at sources, whether it is a medical resource, a news article, any of that source, these are some of the important questions you should ask yourself while you're reading, because sometimes we do read a headline and it catches our attention. So we actually read the whole article, but then we miss all these key questions that we should have asked ourselves because the headline sounded so interesting that we get too caught up in it, and then we forgot whether or not did the article even have a real author, how old was this content, it's someone sponsoring this information, and even does it sound too good to be true. So I'm actually going to show you examples of different headlines so we can see whether or not the information is altered and biased. And even with the growth of social media, there's actually many articles online that can be altered, but we should always ask ourselves who is the author, because they should be very easy to identify when you are reading an article. They should always appear either at the top of the screen or at the ending of the article. And sometimes when the author is listed, they should have what they do for a living or what company they work for. When we read and we see how old the content is, we have to make sure what we're reading is up to date. Because if we're reading something that's from 5 years ago, but now all of a sudden it's shown to us, the information can be inaccurate. Also, another key important question is someone sponsoring this information or trying to get me to buy a product? So sometimes they're actually really good at advertising their product in an article and you may not even notice it. When you're reading something online and it says they may have a cure for some sickness, and when you're reading it, it says, oh, if you drink this juice, your problems will be solved. But actually, the juice is their company's juice, and they just want you to buy the product, and it's actually not going to help you whatsoever. But they very easily disguise it while you're reading, and you don't even notice that the article is trying to get you to buy something. Also, does this sound too good to be true? So sometimes, like I said, headlines can be very interesting and it sounds amazing, but it probably is too good to be true. And also, who is hosting this information online? So make sure you're reading sources from reputable companies. So when you are online, whether that's a medical resource or a news resource, make sure who's the company, like CNN, ABC News. Is it a medical source that you're always familiar with, that your doctor may have shown you before, or any other, or the center may have provided you with? Don't just read any article that you search up online. So does anybody have any questions before I show you some different article headlines? Okay. All right, so I'm going to show you two examples of what I mean when we look at a website online. All right, let me just scroll down to get the website. Okay. Okay. So right now we are on CNN.com. This is a news website that is on television, on the newspapers, and on online, obviously. But while we are on this website, the most important thing is we're going to ask ourselves these questions that I mentioned in the PowerPoint, which is, first of all, who is the author? So as you can see on the screen right here, if I put it in a red circle, you can actually see they have the authors listed right there, right under the headline. So next time you are reading something online, make sure you actually see the authors listed front and center, because if they are not right there in front of you, this usually means the website can be altered and biased, or they just didn't really care to actually put them on the website, so they're not that reputable. But if you do see the authors front and center, that is a key feature that you know this web article is not altered. And even under the author's name, you can actually see when the article was posted. So it actually says it was updated at 10 o'clock on Tuesday, September 20th. So always make sure when you are reading something online that there's even a date provided, because sometimes when you are reading something online, if the information is old, then it is inaccurate. Now, this is just an article about the news that's happening with the hurricane. So this won't necessarily have anything to do with them trying to sell you anything or a product. But if you were on a website for medical resources, make sure when you are reading it, they're not trying to sell you anything. But if we did scroll down, you can actually see on the left-hand side is actually the news, but on the right-hand side is actually different paid advertisements. Now you see this is a secure website, but we still have to always look out for these paid advertisements and not get distracted by them or click on them. Because yes, this is secure. It doesn't mean that if we clicked on these advertisements on the right-hand side, that doesn't mean that those advertisements would lead you to viruses. So just make sure that when you are reading something, don't get caught up with the things that you see on the right hand side, or even here. Like you could see it says it themselves. If I put a red circle, it says paid content. So these are paid advertisements that get shown on these secure websites. However, if I did click on one of these paid advertisements, which I'm not, they can actually give me a virus, or maybe not secure my personal information, because I don't know these different websites and I can't trust them, and I won't click on them. But if we keep going, you can just see these has nothing to do with the article. These are just paid stuff. So just be aware of that next time, because they kind of catch your eye. It says, doctor says, slimming down if after 60 comes down to this. So it's like an article that catches your attention. You want to click on it, but it's a website you may have never heard of, like fatburnerclub.com. We don't really know how reliable that website is, and we can actually put fatburnerclub.com in that transparency report website I told you about earlier. So before you ever click on these random advertisements, be sure you follow those steps and use that transparency report. But instead, just read the article that's at hand and make sure to not click on anything else. It may be interesting and even distracting because the headlines want to catch your attention. They got that intriguing headline, but it's most likely viruses and scams. So yes, you can see we are it has a padlock. If we look up here, hold on. You can see it has the padlock. So yes, CNN is a secure website, but all secure websites will still have paid advertisements that you cannot avoid, unfortunately. Does anybody have any questions about that? Okay. And then I'm just gonna see if this website works. So I can show you another article that's probably that's fake. Let's see if it works or not. Okay. So this is another news article that's a scam. This was an old article from 2016. This website called Web Archive actually saves all of the trending articles on the news from any year. So it goes back the 80s, the 90s, doesn't matter. And I'm using this as an example of websites that articles that can be biased and altered. So if we looked at the old example that I showed you from CNN, it had an author and a date and things like that. You can see under this headline, there is no author. They should have an author of who wrote this article, but there's not. So that's a number one thing you have to look out for when you are reading something online, or if someone sends you a message of an article, find that person who wrote it. As you can see, there's no author here at all. And even how the website looks like and the font, you can see there's a whole quote here in blue, and there's still not any author listed of who even said this quote. Sometimes articles can be very obvious that the information is biased and fake. So something like this, and sometimes they can be very hard to identify whether or not the website is real or not. But right here, you can tell that this website news article was just trying to grab your attention because there's no author, there's no date, and there's really nothing else on this website besides who took the photo. And it doesn't really matter who took the photo. We want to know who said the quote, who is saying this information. So that's a really important thing to always look out for when you are reading something online and before you share it with someone else. And this is called Web Archive, and there's tons of other websites online that has past articles and information to let you know that these articles are not real. But next time, doesn't have to be CNN, but any news article you are reading, just make sure you find that author and that date. Make sure you don't click on any of these advertisements on the right, like right here. Okay. Does anybody have any questions that I didn't go over, they want me to go over again?